special event alert.
Get your ass out of bed and run! This is Late for Changeover, your weekly news, your weekly space news and variety show.
Oh, okay.
I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History, Eric Perrott.
Gentlemen, how are ya?
The man in the closet, Jake Wall.
Filing a formal complaint. I don't get a background because you started that nickname.
You are famous.
Officially
for that
filed.
background. And our very own Big Bird, Mike John.
No.
And
They burn.
we're here to bring you the latest updates and headlines pertinent to all Guardians and the other lesser branches as well. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as we present Late for Changeover. Gentlemen, it's good to see you Thanksgiving week. You know, thanks for working. It almost feels like, hey, can you come in and pull a shift on Thanksgiving week? I know you're on leave, but can you come in and just pull this shift? I almost feel that way.
Yeah.
I did that for too many goddamn years. So
You're going to have to pay me hourly now, Marty.
You'll get leftovers, though.
yeah, that's true. And the commander will be here, not for very long, but he'll be here to come and shake
Show
your hand,
face.
maybe give some coins out.
He
He may even scoop out some of the aluminum tinned turkey. Yeah.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
I think, it feels great, right? And then the mid-shift guys come in and are like, hey, there's still a little bit of food left over there on the side.
Dried up mashed potatoes in the
bowl
corner.
Bowl of gravy sitting there all hard.
And we'll still go over there and eat that shit because
looks like Jell-O.
Well, there's nothing else.
Yeah,
scrape
at 2
the
in the
top.
morning, anything's good.
That
you get
gravy
that,
disc.
That turkey where it's all coagulated in, and you're like, microwave will take this off.
It'll loosen it up.
Looks like
make it
it's
into a
been
sandwich and you're good to go.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they'll bring you a loaf of bread, and you're like, hey, go to town, man. There's not much left over there, but yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you later.
Happy
Good stuff.
All right, Eric. What is this day in history today?
Oh,
It's pretty good. It's kind of cool. It was right up my alley, so I really like this one. Okay, so first of all, I want to ask you a question. How many of you guys are aware of a successful raid for prisoners during Vietnam? Any successful?
Oh, yeah.
missions?
It was huge, right? It was a big.
I think that was Rambo. The first
Oh,
premise
that's
of
true.
Rambo.
Because
Correct.
those camps were supposed to be empty, right? That's why they sent them.
They
there.
were. Yep.
Okay.
And he's like,
Well,
oh my
here's-
God, he found one.
Here's the true story. There were no successful raids.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rambo's
However-
a lie.
However, Operation Ivory Coast was planned November 21st or executed on November 21st, 1970. Operation Ivory Coast was a joint special operations mission executed on November 21st, 1970 to liberate American POWs held at Son Tay near Hanoi, North Vietnam. The rescue effort launched from Allied air bases in Thailand and was a mission of mercy, according to President Nixon. If the plan succeeded, Nixon planned to possibly have the freed POWs at the White House for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh.
A successful raid might also bring hope to the other POWs in North Vietnam and their families back in the U.S. Operation Ivory Coast did not succeed.
Oh.
However, the raid demonstrated that well-trained and well-rehearsed Joint Special Operations Forces could conduct missions deep inside denied areas. American POWs continued to languish in inhumane conditions until the last prisoner was released in April of 1973. So it goes on. There's a lot of stuff to it, but I want to tell you the last part, give you the specifics of this thing. So training began on September 9th, 1970, after a refresher in basic skills and weapons. The crawl, walk, run method was used for realistic actions on the objective rehearsals. Using a canvas and wooden framed mock-up of the POW camp that was taken down at the end of each day's training, To preserve operational security, rehearsals became progressively harder and later conducted at night. By September 28th, Army and Air Force elements trained together with full mission profiles of the raid beginning in October. Brigadier General Blackburn observed one of the rehearsals conducted on October 20th, with the ground force arriving 3 to 7 minutes late due to an in-flight navigation error. An operations staff journal entry noted that he was very displeased. Eventually, some 170 rehearsals were conducted. All right, so you got the practice.
Who was that? Who were they training to go do this?
It was all Army Special Forces, some Air Force elements, and some Navy aircraft over. And I've got some numbers for you, so hold on one second.
It's odd that they went crawl, walk, run with Special Forces. Like,
well,
we know this part.
It was an all-volunteer force.
Yeah.
Fort Bragg, they wanted a bunch, and the room was full. So I'll give you the exact numbers here in a minute.
Well, joint force operations weren't really all that big of a thing back in the
No,
Vietnam
that's
era.
true.
Nope.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So the Sante raid had been a complex mission. The joint operation included U.S. Navy air diversion of 59 aircraft, a USAF force of 19 fixed wing and 6 rotary wing aircraft, and a 56-man Army SF ground force.
Oh, special.
While Operation Ivory Coast did not recover any prisoners, the raid did boost morale for POWs in North Vietnam, as prisoners learned later of the raid. Additionally, some camps were closed in the aftermath, and the prisoners consolidated, resulting in better care. The ad hoc joint force demonstrated that well-trained and rehearsed U.S. Joint Special Operation Forces could conduct missions even in heavily defended areas.
What was it? They got there and there was no prisoners?
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So there was a question if the intelligence was good. So inside the compound, Captain Meadows inside the compound, Captain Meadows led the 14-man assault group. He announced via bullhorn, "We are Americans. This is a rescue. Keep your heads down. We are here to get you out."
Huh.
However, no response was heard, and it soon became apparent no POWs were present at Sante. All raid elements fanned out to the respective positions, encountering small arms fire and eliminating enemy positions along the way. After a thorough search of the buildings in the compound, Colonel Simmons gave the order to withdraw. It was 27 minutes total from time on target to the last helicopter.
That's pretty badass.
Wow.
Yeah. Last helicopter departure in the early morning hours of November 21st, 1970. Dodging surface-to-air missiles on the way out, it was another 2.5-hour flight through enemy airspace back to Thailand. So they had one wounded soldier and one guy with a broke bone, but that was the only injuries they incurred. And then there was a big to-do about the intelligence because apparently the POWs had been moved, had been moved in July. They were no longer there.
Wow. That many months earlier, and they...
Yeah.
So it looks like the mission could have succeeded. The planning went well. Everything was done correctly. No prisoners. No prisoners. Yeah.
What date was that they went?
21
November.
Wow.
1970.
You think Pat canceled the extra turkeys? Like she's got guys, just don't even put those in the oven. Or she's like, well, we'll just have some leftovers.
Well, I thought the planning of this thing was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, bringing all this force together and making it work. So it's a shame it didn't work a couple years later.
Pretty good Thanksgiving themed day in history.
Oh,
yes.
It does amaze me.
You're well on the way to getting that little medal.
Well, right.
I am working hard, Jake. I'm working hard for that thing.
Well,
Marty's mentality is you should be working hard.
You should be working hard. That's what's expected.
God, do you sound like
non-paid employee? Right?
Do you sound like a senior NCO again, or what?
You
should be working that hard.
This one,
look at that,
George. It's with you.
It's in the Ziploc baggie. That's awesome.
You should be working hard. Teapot.
Well, this is a treat for our viewing audience as we're joined by Teapot Kevin Balcom. back from Zoo Lights in Denver. So
that was 2.5 hours. I'm not getting back, man.
Did you get the drive? Did you do the drive-through one, or did you actually walk around the zoo?
Yeah, we drove through, and then there was an accident. And it was right in front of us. I think a motorcycle. I'm thinking the worst, man, because it was shattered, and we were at a standstill for like an hour, and I had a car full of kids, but they were actually pretty good. So I was like, I'm gonna make it here. I missed you guys. It's been too long.
Yeah.
What's up, Vern?
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Vern?
Big Vern.
We in fact, the veterans 5K that we went to was downtown. and I took my daughter, who's now 28, and we parked at the zoo and walked over to the park and started the 5K. And she goes, I've never seen the zoo during the day. We always came from Zoo Lights.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And I froze my ass off every single. She goes, yeah, it was the coldest walk around the zoo ever. So maybe it wasn't too bad for you tonight, but you certainly paid for it with the car ride. That's for sure. Jesus.
Here I am. Glad to be back, gentlemen.
Well, you are just in time for the news. So, okay. So this first story, at first I thought it was bad news for SpaceX, right? But then maybe it's good news for SpaceX. So it was really hard to figure it out. So I actually had to read this story. Yeah, it sucked.
We're going to talk about. I got to read about it.
I know. I was like, I thought I could get it all
just
from the
barely
headline.
scratch that surface. You know the rules.
That's true. Good point.
No details.
From the Los Angeles Times, SpaceX Starship. Starship's their big thing they're pushing for. SpaceX is. Its second uncrewed launch ends in explosion. So you take that headline, you're like, oh shit, bad news for SpaceX. Maybe not. Now, either SpaceX is really good at making it seem like it's not bad news, or they actually accomplish some objectives. So, SpaceX's Starship Mars rocket and spacecraft launched for the second time early Saturday morning, making it through liftoff and a planned separation of the uncrewed ship and rocket booster before both ending up exploding. So, I guess I know. This is their big heavy lift. This is SpaceX's big heavy lift and their unmanned remote piloted spacecraft. So this is what they're pitching to NASA to go back to the moon and to Mars and everything else. So this is the second flight of this big booster. And the first time they did it, it exploded like just a minute out and it blew up the launch pad or something like that. So
it got off the pad.
Yeah,
that was their only goal.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was? And they're like,
it.
Wreckage be damned. Don't stand
They're like,
too
hell
close.
yeah. So I guess it's the same thing. They're like,
it is the same thing.
Is our only goal.
So that was it.
Like,
that's what they said their objective was to get up to separation. And so to give you, I don't know if you guys have seen this video yet, but
what kind of money do you think they just exploded?
Wow.
Well, a lot. But let's watch these guys here cheer for the explosion.
I would say at least a few million McDoubles. You know what I mean?
4, 3, 2, 1.
It's a pretty cool view of it taking off. I don't know if that's drones or a helicopter or what. Sounds like they're in Madison Square Garden.
Can you imagine the heat and the force coming off the bottom of that?
Yeah.
We are T plus 40 seconds into the flight of Starship. 33 Raptor engines powering the first stage.
Power and telemetry nominal.
It's pretty cool. Those are all little engines.
They're not really that little.
Well, no. I got you.
Separation.
Boosting startup.
Oh, nice.
So then you guys actually got up early to watch this live?
So the other one just intentionally, they didn't even try to push that other one further on.
Now listen what she says, though. This is a pretty good description of an explosion.
Incredible views of our super heavy booster. And
as you can see, the Super Heavy booster has just experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly.
And so we're actually going in a suborbital trajectory today. And I mean,
a rapid, unscheduled disassembly.
I love that.
That's pretty badass. So they were pretty happy about that. I guess they just wanted to get it to separation. And then I guess the spacecraft itself went off for several more minutes, and then they think it triggered its own self-destruct. So,
okay, cool.
So good on SpaceX. I guess you can cheer and all that shit when everything's unmanned, I suppose. And you got a billionaire who's not worried about it. Yeah. You got a billionaire not worried about the price.
Cost.
Well,
But-
wait, aren't we paying for that? Isn't that our money?
A little bit,
Yeah.
75 cents on the dollar, but Elon knows what he's doing. But it's not like when
Hey,
we've had
Better success rate than Lockheed, who just got what? Freaking 1.8 billion
Yeah.
to
Big
blow crap
contract.
up.
right,
Yep.
right. And they said, I saw another side article about how they're developing that RV for the Sentinel, the new ICBM.
Mhm.
Now the Sentinel's having flight issues. Of course.
I think we just solved the whole
Give
Social
Elon on
Security
it.
thing. Let's stop doing this shit and put that money to Social Security. I'll be good.
Well,
That's
yeah,
what
the
Obama
last
tried
one.
to do.
Right?
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He shut down NASA under his, well, he didn't shut it down, but he revamped NASA's mission, try to recoup some of
Convert
those
the
funds.
money.
Yeah. From here on out, NASA, all you're doing is seeds.
Chemtrails.
You're just doing
Chemtrails.
seeds, baby.
Chemtrails.
Grow
Yeah.
some things, boys.
But then
Grow some
behind the
things.
scenes, he's like, seeds actually is the cover story for everything.
Nice.
So that's SpaceX. They're still launching like fiends, man. They just keep putting rockets up like every other day. So, but that's cool. But that Starship is what NASA, let's see. Starship is key to SpaceX's future business plans and the U.S.'s return to the moon. SpaceX is under contract with NASA to develop the Starship spacecraft into a lunar lander for NASA's Artemis program. So they've got some job security, even though they're blowing shit up left and right off the pad. But does make you wonder how close can you stand to that thing now, right?
Oof.
As it starts going downrange.
Miles.
All right. Let's give our honorary original guardian, our hog, his due. Okay.
Right on.
So this
Love
your
it.
chance. This
Love
your
it,
chance
love
to
it.
shine, Eric.
Right. Pull that
this
good
is-
conduct out, baby. It's coming.
Oh, wait, that's
Well
going to
on
be
your
determined by
way.
the movie game. So from airandSpaceForces.com, this guy wrote a and got published this article about how to make Air Force bases safer and security forces happier. So, because we know they're not happy unless they're
Retired.
unless they're shacking up in a bomb shelter. So,
That's true too.
All right,
Senior
gentlemen, this is
options.
not an article to point and poke. Okay.
hey,
Okay,
wait,
okay.
actually, we all secretly admire you for that, to be honest with you. I
Shack
think there
up
was-
and forget. I never
think-
got to shack up in a shelter.
I think there was a time at Sibbers that we had 2, maybe 3 people pregnant by security forces at one time.
Oh, that was a good time.
Before we start, I want to talk about a camera system, infrared, that we had called Cyclops.
Oh,
Cyclops was activated on all our deployments, so it would turn all around the base. So all you space guys trying to hide out in the latrines and stuff having sex, cops were sitting back laughing at you.
Joke's on you. Space guys don't have sex.
Well, all right.
That was
Joke's
C.
on you.
It might have been civil engineer then. Who knows? But that was actual. So we caught a number of people with those Cyclops because it was
no
just
shit.
Yep. Heating.
And I bet you if you looked at those tapes that are spanning over the base, there's like what's that big black square? Oh, fallout shelter. We don't film that. It
No.
just keeps going like that.
That's private.
Hey,
go.
there ain't no cameras
The
in the day of
speed-
the chase. You know what I'm saying? Day of the chase.
The camera goes like this, and then when it gets to the shelter, it goes.
Yeah,
Like,
cuts by. Cut by.
There was a a training suite down in Sibbers, right? I think it was down. I mean, not Sibbers, down in Shriver for GPS, and they had an old training suite. I think down in the basement. And you go down in there, and they'd have to admit you back into the training suite. And right in the little foyer piece was a couch. And the first thing when I got down there, like, don't sit on that couch.
Yeah, was it black?
I don't remember exactly, but it was. I was told not to sit on that couch, and I was like, "Well, how come?" And they're like, "It's a lot of mid-shifts that security does a lot of patrols down here." I was like,
"You might even get pregnant."
Ooh.
Yeah, like, good looking out, homie.
That's why we were so good at our jobs. We were never where we were supposed to be. We were always somewhere else.
So this whole guy's article about economy of force and stuff. Maybe if you just stop issuing condoms, maybe you would have enough cops to do their job out there, right? Is that what you're saying, Eric?
No. Most of them would be knocked up.
That's hard.
They'd have to plus up their manning.
Okay. This guy, Senior Master Sergeant Brandon Dinkins, a 19-year defender, is the superintendent of operations and training for the 45th Security Forces Squadron at Patrick Space Force Base, Florida. He wrote a paper that was published in the fall issue of Air University's Air and Space Operations Review. Have you guys ever written anything that got published? Have you ever written it? I remember writing something to the commander at Two Swiss when we were on 12s. I think that was a Captain Zezius move. It's like, hey, can you guys all write letters? I was like, okay, I'll write a letter. I think it got round filed as soon as it was. But.
I mean, I helped author the 3-1 for OPIR.
Yeah.
No shit.
Very well written too, Vern, by the way.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what you did in Weapons and Tactics. You developed tactics, wrote them into manuals and stuff. That was the job.
Well, you guys that did your college degrees did a thesis, right? I mean, I did a thesis for college.
Thesis. Not for a bachelor's.
Yeah, you did.
University of Phoenix don't need no thesis.
Okay. Well, I had to put one together.
For a bachelor's?
Yeah.
No shit.
Through Colorado Christian University.
Eric, I think they call those essays.
No, this is a thesis. I have it. It's published, hardback and all.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. You didn't have to count the words in it.
Oh yeah.
I'm at 395 of 400 words, and I can't.
Well, it was funny because you did a chapter every quarter of your classes.
Yeah.
So you were writing it as you went, you know.
Oh, okay.
So
what was the big online school early on? It was someplace in Michigan, wasn't it? Wasn't it a Michigan online school or a correspondence school? I can't remember.
All I remember was Phoenix University.
Oh, well, this was before University of Phoenix got big. There was somebody. It was like Central Michigan, wasn't it? I thought it was Central Michigan.
Colorado State had a very early
Colorado State, the global
Columbia
campus. College
out of Missouri, because that's where I got my bachelor's from.
Oh, no,
was very early on. I don't remember Michigan. American Military University too was.
Oh, that's a big one.
I maybe this was in the 90s, but I thought it was like Central Michigan or something like that. But anyway,
Chips, fire up Chips. Let's go.
His thesis on this, before I turn it over to Eric, is today many security force members at Air Force installations worldwide have limited operational effectiveness due to redundant security concepts and restrictive security procedures. A new security management approach for security forces posting and response can help create a more lethal, educated, effective, and ready force to meet the dangerous threats of today. So basically, his big premise is there were two of them. One, to be reactive rather than proactive, or
proactive versus
proactive rather than reactive.
Yep.
And to tailor your security forces to the needs of the base. And Eric, you can speak to more of those, right?
Sure. Well, I mean, you guys are being Air Force guys. There was always one big governing document. 101, if I recall right, was the document for security, and it was a one size fit all, no matter what your mission was at that base. that was always a problem because what fit at Andrews didn't fit at Charleston or vice versa. So,
but was that supposed to be even applied to like if you went to Thule or Minot? That was supposed to be the same structure everywhere. Fuck.
Yep. I mean, the only differences is when you started talking about nuclear launch installations, the premises was the same, but the mission specific for COPS, because it was missiles versus a flight line or aircraft.
Oh, yeah.
So I think with him, back in my day, we were very tunnel visioned. You were either security or you were LE. LE did the law enforcement capabilities of the base. Security did nothing but walk around B-52s and walk around the flight line protecting aircraft. We were very tunnel vision. That role started expanding when we combined law enforcement and security. As well as
were there like shred outs in your AFSC for those two?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit, really?
Yep. I was a security guy. Law enforcement was separate, and they also included combat arms, or CADMS guys. So when we combined, that mission role expanded.
Yeah.
And it continued to get bigger. I know in the article he specifically talked about air-based ground defense. Before we started, I was telling Marty, prior to Air Force taking on the role of protecting the installation, it was an Army's responsibility. And then the Army said, I'm not sure who said, but that role went away, and they said, Air Force, you are now responsible for protecting your perimeter. So air-based ground defense was started, how to protect the installation. And we used all Army doctrine to train our security forces. So they're going through Army schools. I went through Marine Corps patrol school, did all the patrolling, all the way from field fortifications, how to build a fighting position, a foxhole. I mean, the whole 9 yards. So it really expanded our role, which was much better because at the time, Dinkins is talking about, you get one guy who's responsible for walking it back and forth across a taxiway gap. I know in Charleston, we had 2 F-15s that were on alert every other week.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Even if the aircraft weren't on alert, you had a guy walking back and forth, wasting his time across the taxiway gap. So the redundancy was ridiculous and unnecessary. For a non-alert aircraft, you could have closed the taxiway gap fence. He didn't.
What do you think is the major roadblock in being able to go, hey, we don't need somebody out there for Monday through Thursday until the weekend? Was it the commander, or was it just this whole culture of we got to stick to the book?
Well, I think
it's that dickbag that sneaks on and steals a Humvee and ruins it for everybody. That's exactly it.
Makes us look bad.
Yeah, somebody's putting a sticker on some F-16.
So, are you saying that your higher headquarters guidance is like way too prescriptive and that hamstrings? Is that what I'm getting here? Is that the gist?
Absolutely. So
that's awful, man. That's awful.
The cops have a 1-star that runs their show. And in the past, he's been very, very hands-off. So the guidance was always from the book. You do this.
Yeah.
Don't differentiate, do this. So when you have a mission at Charleston Air Force Base, which has different resources, C-17s, it used to be the old Air Force 141s. That mission differed from what's being done at Andrews, where you got presidential security. But you were doing things the exact same way, and it doesn't work. One shoe doesn't fit all. And especially now, when you guys are aware, when cops are deployed, they're responsible for convoy operations. That was something that we never did. But we took that role away from Army, so Army could keep and stay out in the field. Air Force cops could be the convoy ops. And that's really worked. So I really appreciate the role expansion. And I know Dinkins is probably saying, if we had commanders at the base willing to step out and say, guys, we don't need to do this, this, and this, let's put our resources here. I think you'd find it would run better. Cops would be happier. They would be in better place to prevent things from happening.
Is that
was specifically called out, though? He said base Defense Force commanders can
Yeah.
seek waivers and to tailor their security strategies, but there's a unspoken like taboo against it. It's what
I mean, I retired in 2000. When did I retire? 2003. Going all the way back when I was in the military, we had senior NCOs going, guys, this doesn't apply. Why are we doing this? And the commander said, do it. You're told to do it. This is what we're doing.
You guys didn't have base supplements to the AFI?
You did, but they didn't have much guidance. They didn't change the difference of what you were doing from the big rig. You know, that was okay, this is a missile base. This is an aircraft base. That was it.
That's weird because I thought, I mean, coming into space, that's space mentality where leaders are too afraid of their higher ups to do anything different or to do something creative, right? And that's just like, okay, space came from SAC with all the rules and regulations. Nobody wants to get in trouble. Nobody wants to be, you want to be a free thinker, but you're not sure if they're going to be allowed to be a free thinker. And you're saying that was in the cops. That's wild because I thought the cops were,
especially
as much shit as we give cops, we thought, oh, well, they know what to do and they know how to put where, that kind of shit. But it's the same philosophy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Stateside, much more than your overseas. I mean, the bigger threat areas, your Korea installations, they were given a little more freeway. The threat was,
I think every time you go, every time you go overseas, nobody's going to question, hey, we need to do this for that. And they're like, okay, that's a good decision.
Right.
There's more of a get the job done mentality.
Yeah.
So
now, Mike Johns,
Marty, though,
this is for you. Hold on, Jake. For Mike Johns, the one area that did change a lot of what we did was higher threat conditions. Again, the higher the threat, more leeway. You were able to do things. I mean,
isn't that crazy? That's ridiculous. So the closer we get to war, okay, then you can do shit that you want.
That's a perfect example of reactive versus proactive.
Yeah.
Well, were you just implementing additional RAMs, or was it actual like you guys were able to kind of call your own plays?
Well, the base commander, depending on the threat, could call his own place. But you're right. A lot of it was just additional RAMs. And anti-terrorism measurements. You'd go over and, implement gate checks or. So a perfect example was.
Want to check my trunk again? You just did it 2 days ago.
I was assigned to Space Command IG for my last 4 years in the service. I was doing operational readiness and nuclear surety. So when 9/11 happened, we had the option to stay with the IG or go to active units and say, we're here to help.
Yeah.
So I went to the 21st Space Wing, started 12-hour shifts running day shift with them through the whole thing. So all the cops from the IG team went out to the units.
So you were doing day shift, so you got the Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah.
That time I did.
Yeah, you did.
I absolutely did.
And they're like, thank you for working on this holiday. They're like, what about the mid-shift guys? He's like, I'll be long gone before.
Well, there were a couple nights that I just spent the night locked down on the base. I didn't even go home during that period.
Sure.
Yeah, because the base was locked down tight.
Right.
Yeah, we were in Delta for what, like 3 months or something like that, right after 9/11.
Right.
It was a period of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
I had to go to work for like 3-4 weeks because I was support. They're like, don't come in.
Yep.
Oh, right. But do you remember
I was a pointy end crew dog at the time, so I was there, killing terrorists left and right.
Pointy end. Pointy end of the one-stop sword.
We had to run the Xbox.
Were you ever assigned as an augmentee? Were any of you ever assigned as augmentees to the cops? No. Mostly civil engineering and
the guys who had clearance problems, we sent them over to be augmentees.
I was there for one day and I racked it right off the bat, and they were like,
no. Did you get ammo?
Solve that problem. That was their question too.
Oh my goodness.
I come to work prepared, guys. You know,
I'm gonna kill people. Come on.
I give Dinkins credit because he did have that paragraph in there. It says nothing's worse than feeling like you are wasting your time. So I've been on post plenty of times asking, why am I here? Sometimes as defenders, we are not even told what we're guarding. It's good to know why we do things. So pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's good to see Dinkins speaking out and getting published with it.
Yeah, that's pretty.
For some of that, knowing what you were guarding stuff, they started implementing a lot of that into FTAC. I'd have to go and get briefings at FTAC to tell, like the Sibbers mission. I'd have to, we had a cool video and all that kind of stuff that I would go in and explain to the wider base audience of what the mission of the base actually was. So hopefully some of that cleared up, some of the why we're there kind of stuff that was going on.
Did you find when you had to give those briefings that you did have people come in there that really didn't know what the fuck was going on?
Oh, absolutely. And you could ask them questions afterwards, and no one was paying attention. You go through, you sit a bunch of you sit 50 airmen down into the, the chapel lunchroom to watch to get briefings for 8 hours a day. They're tapped out after 15 minutes. Sure. And, so yeah, once they get to, at least mine had a video with it, and I kind of, I threw in some color and stuff like that and tried to keep people interested. But yeah, maybe out of 50 people, you'd have 5 people that could say, oh yeah, I remember that part of the briefing and could actually tell you what was going on. But
see, they'd recognize you at the Thanksgiving mess hall and they'd be like, hey, that's the FTAC guy.
Yeah.
I must say, being a cop, I really enjoyed it. There was 2 things that I always liked about it. We were always in the know when threats were occurring. That's the one thing we got. And the other thing is, if something was going on, we were going to be part of it, which was my thing. I enjoyed that.
Okay, it. So tell me this, because when I was in the Army, I remember the days where you could park your car right outside post and you could walk in when you were drunk, right? And then 9/11 changed.
Walk in when you were drunk.
Yeah, they would, as long as you didn't drive, you could just go walk to your room, whatever. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, times were different during the non.
Shots fired.
You could hotbox the crew van back in that
day. What I'm saying is Eric bridged that time period, right? Because you went where there were basically open base to now everybody's ID checked, right? So, I mean, was there a big difference? I mean, obviously the difference in workload, all of a sudden now you're checking everybody.
Yeah.
But there was no more walking in. That had to suck for all the drunks. I know it did for me.
Well, the big thing for security guys, when law enforcement
hit me hard,
needed help, and they asked the security guys, do you have anybody on a post that is not needed? Well, yeah, I got 2 guys that are walking a taxiway gap. You want one? Yeah, man, sign me up. I'd go fucking ride around and write a ticket or fucking wave traffic, get involved, which was cool for a security guy. So that was what was nice about combining it all. Good stuff.
Well, cool. That last paragraph, he said, Dinkins said now is the time to optimize security forces. The last time the career field underwent major changes was in the wake of the 96 Khobar Towers bombing at Dhahran Air Base, Saudi Arabia, where 19 airmen died and hundreds more were wounded. Yep. Where were you at in 96, Eric?
96, I was in Charleston getting ready to head to Korea.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Wasn't in the desert.
Do you remember that incident?
Khobar Towers?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That changed the whole way we did security in the desert.
Oh, did it really?
It went to a much more proactive role. Earlier on, we didn't have any helicopter support. Later, when I went, they started having cops ride with the helicopter crews to do SAM footprints, looking for missiles outside that are going to be launched from the outside into the installation.
Wow.
Taking a much more proactive role.
Yeah.
So much cooler.
Which I guess we always get the best response. We're not the best proactive people, though.
No. Well, and you guys have heard the term defense in depth.
Yeah, sure.
Huge in security. Make it harder. Make it, a variety of obstacles to get to the resource. So that's what it's all about.
That's why they redo the entry control of Buckley like every other year. So they're like, hey, there's not enough zigzaggies in here.
Serpentines. You gotta have serpentines, man.
Let's do another $200,000 and knock it all down again. It's
aggressive.
like,
Those are aggressive up there, man. I'm like, damn, I really got to like concentrate, man. Like,
How much do you think those big ass stones cost that they put out there, man?
No, oh yeah.
Like stones. Like, wow.
The academies, though, man, you could hit that at like 55, man.
Yeah,
Easy.
Academy's
Easy,
pretty
yeah.
lax.
They're like curved down. There's like a little fun ramp on the side.
Yeah, until they initiate that freaking bollard that comes out of the road. Hit that bad boy.
Right.
You'll be slammed.
Those videos are pretty cool to show the capability of those things.
Yeah.
Oh, when they blow up like a dump truck.
Like,
jeez, dude.
All right, so for this next story, we're going to try something. We're going to do a little ad lib. Jake, you and I are going to do a little ad lib. Right?
Oh, okay.
So
Ad lib.
we're going to do some role play. Okay.
Ooh.
Jake,
you're the girl.
What's the safe
No,
word?
no.
Yeah.
I'm going to be your hot girlfriend, Jake.
Ooh.
Nice.
Right?
I can see it.
We
I can see it.
we fight a lot, but we want to be together, right? You want to be with me. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to stay in that relationship. So I'm going to come to you one day and I'm going to go, Jake, honey.
Do it in a girl's voice.
I'm not going to do a girl's voice. Right?
Sell this.
No,
Sell it, Marty.
But that's a bridge too far from him.
Lame.
But we need to talk about something very serious. Okay.
Is it the rash?
Well, no,
Okay.
that's a problem, but we got to talk about something real serious. Now, I don't want to get pregnant, right? You know that. Okay. And in order for us to stay together,
Anal.
that's only on a couple days a month. Right? And I don't enjoy it. Even though you can't see my face, I don't enjoy it.
Okay.
But to prove your loyalty to me, I'm going to need you to get a vasectomy. Okay.
Oh, nice.
If you want to stay with me, you got to get a vasectomy. What do you say about that?
Yeah.
I mean, are you like an 8 out of 10? What are we talking here?
Yeah. What
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tell you?
I'm 11 out of 10.
11.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Snip it, baby.
Hey,
Hit me up.
as long as I can still glue your eyes shut, we're good.
Jesus.
Jesus.
It's a good thing we're not going for monetization, huh?
Well, okay.
Oh,
If
it's
you're
good to be back,
if-
fellas. It's good to be back.
That's not the response I expected, but if you're sure you want to get the vasectomy.
Hell no. You want me to say hell no? Get out of here, woman.
Well, if
Yeah,
you
you're a
can't,
girlfriend, not a wife.
if you can't
No.
commit to me to get the vasectomy,
Uh-huh.
then we're going to have to end the relationship. All
You
right?
are late for changeover.
You are.
Yeah.
You will be out.
Guess
for
what?
changeover.
That's not the only thing that's going to be late for changeover here. Period's about to be late when I convince you I had a vasectomy 3 months ago.
If you don't get the vasectomy, then we're done. We're over. Okay, that's it. You got it.
Okay. All right. All right.
We'll see you
We're
later.
over. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Jake. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that role play.
Whew.
I
We have
told
reached
my
new
wife, I was
heights.
like, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but this is
Yeah.
probably not going to go well.
It went well.
What was
Come on, that
what
went
was
well.
the end of result of that story?
Well, you'll see. Because
Oh,
now
okay.
we go to task and purpose, and the article they have was the Army sent letters to soldiers separated for vaccine refusal.
Because they're
So-
desperate for people.
They are
Oh,
desperate for people. So the soldiers who were forced out of the Army for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine have received letters with instructions on how to rejoin. A letter
To
signed.
get the vaccine.
Sorry.
Yeah, they got kicked out because they didn't get it.
No, but was the instruction to get the vaccine and then you can come back in?
No, they said,
Oh,
all that.
good point.
Don't worry
That
about
would
it.
be a very Army thing to do.
Come on back. Right?
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
A letter signed by Brigadier General Hope Rampey, Army Director of Personnel Management, read, quote, as a result of the rescission of all current COVID-19 vaccine requirements, former soldiers who were involuntarily separated for the refusal to receive the COVID-19 vaccination may request a correction of their military records. I'm not sure what that means, but it also says the letter also instructs soldiers looking to return to service to contact an Army, Army Reserve, or National Guard recruiter. However, it was not immediately clear to an Army spokesman if soldiers who rejoin would return to their former unit or MOS.
Yep, going infantry. Everyone's going infantry.
The Army separated 1,903 active duty soldiers for refusing the COVID-19 vaccination during the nearly year and a half it was mandatory. Letters were sent to approximately 1,900 of those troops, according to an Army spokesperson. This was specifically part of the COVID mandate recession process, said an Army spokesperson Bryce Doobie, referring to policy that was passed in last year's annual defense policy bill. So they wouldn't have done shit unless they did this thing last year, right? Earlier this year, the Defense Department suggested that 8,400 service members separated for vaccine refusal might be eligible for back pay. But officials
now we're talking.
But officials walked that back in January. They're like, ho, wait a minute. Remember those guys who got shafted out of their bonus? We're not going to back pay these guys either. So, the coronavirus pandemic wasn't the first time the military mandated vaccines. In the 1990s, former President Bill Clinton mandated that troops receive the anthrax vaccine, which Jake got 9 of them.
Bonus points.
Leading to similar lawsuits and complaints about adverse side effects. I never heard about those lawsuits. Did you ever hear about any of those lawsuits? They kept that shit on the down low for
that was really quiet.
Some troops continued to work. Others were penalized with non-judicial punishments. They lost rank and pay or received dishonorable discharges because of anthrax. I never heard of any of that. So,
yeah.
All right, Jake. We're back in a role play, okay?
Well, those guys were booted as general discharge, though, right? At least
some of them were. Yeah. I think most of them were, but some there was also other issues. Maybe those are 3 guys who didn't get letters.
Yeah.
Like, woo! So, thankfully they.
So, Jake, this is your ex-girlfriend texting you. No, right? She's saying, "Hey, Jake, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Remember that whole vasectomy thing?"
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's not a priority for me anymore. So if you want to get back together, just let me know.
Tighten the bow.
I miss you.
Yeah, tighten the bow.
That's how dumb this is. Like, can you imagine being in the room and they're late and they came up with this idea? It was like, hey, we might get 1,900 more troops back in. They're like,
I mean,
who wants to come back in?
What percent's gonna
There were 1,900 that the Army kicked out. Yeah. I mean, and the guys, you got to be smart enough. Say you get a percentage of guys who are just like, hey, I want to come back in. Really? Do you trust those guys who want to come back in now that they've been spurned by that ex-girlfriend? Yeah. They want to come back in?
Yeah.
As somebody who may or may not have violated a direct order in his day and got his ass handed to him.
That's true.
Sometimes. Yeah, thank you. Sometimes you maybe a second chance. Maybe I messed up. Yeah, I want to come back. I'm okay with it. I think they're idiots, but we're all idiots once in a while.
Especially
there was only 1,900. There was only 1,900 people. That's impressive, actually, for the amount of active duty. Right? I'm like, wow, that's small.
I think the Navy's numbers were a lot higher. I think
that's 19 Army, all right.
Yeah, I think the Navy.
Yeah, that's
higher.
just Army. Yeah.
Did that apply to all services?
Hey, if they go back in, that's cool.
No, just Army.
Okay.
By all means, give them the opportunity. That's great. But man, I'd be jaded.
No, me
yeah,
too,
that's what I mean. You got to be suspicious of a guy who's like, yeah, I'll come back in. Yeah.
Now,
he's got to have something
let me come back in.
If you were at like 15 years and then you got booted, or 16 years and then you got booted, heck yeah, I'd go back in. Just suck it up for the last 4.
to try to get that retirement. Oh shit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My requirement would be I need to get an official letter apology from one of the higher ups.
Oh.
1 star minimum. I need an apology letter.
That's
And
not gonna
I'll
happen.
think about it.
They don't even know how to let you back in.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're like,
Yeah.
go to a army recruiter somewhere.
And what
Yeah.
rank do you come back in? Do you
Well,
come
that's
back as
true,
in your
but
official rank?
Who knows? I mean, they may be that desperate right now. Yeah. They're like,
Well, they're short, what, 19,000?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
just
Something
this
like that?
year. Yeah, just this year. So,
Oof.
which amazingly enough, they're short in recruiting, but they made their
15,000,
goal for
sorry.
retention. So I don't know how that works out. So
Yeah,
So no new
this
guys.
is probably
old
better.
guys.
This is probably better than trying to get 1,900 new accessions in that are just dumb as shit, right? Like
Yeah.
a good chunk of these guys probably like, yeah, I made a mistake. I should probably go back. You know, some may be jaded, but I think a chunk of them are probably like, yeah,
Well,
I should probably go back. You know?
it could be, but let's say it's been 2 years and you get out and you're like, shit, I'm tired of being a waiter. You know, fuck yeah, I'll go back in. Yeah, shit.
Right, right. Why people are miffed because now like flu vaccine and I have to get a COVID vaccine. Like I get that, but for someone like me who's immunocompromised, like yeah, man, I'm going in because I've had the flu and I had COVID. Fucking, I don't whatever helps. Like I'm in.
Fair enough.
Sure. I mean, mandating all that shit that they did really put doubt into everything, right? It's not a vaccine. It's just, and the flu vaccine was never a vaccine. It was always a flu shot. They should just call this a COVID shot because it's not it's not a polio vaccine.
And I can even understand people that because it happened so fast, right? Like this timeline was so quick, and people didn't realize that these were kind of under studies for really over a decade. But like I can understand the hesitancy where they're like, "What? This came out of nowhere?" Like, yeah, no, but I understand why people are like, "Holy shit!" Like all of a sudden, it's like. But then, Jake, you got 9 anthrax shots, so I can see why you're a little hesitant to be like, "Whoa, pump the brakes, homie." Smallpox,
dude,
too, right? That was awful.
I haven't got a flu shot since I got out. I've got the bad taste in my mouth from that shot was they basically said you have to take this or you can't come on any federal installation.
Yeah.
So like
right.
And it was like, here's your livelihood or
get the shot.
You know, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, they
you want to work?
You know, and like you're talking, Kevin. I mean, you know, for the first variant of COVID, it was effective, but then as it morphed, they didn't keep up with it, or you couldn't keep up with it that fast, right? So it very quickly became okay. It wasn't as effective, but then when they start hanging authority on there for safety and all that shit, and you're like, wait a second, this is an overweight old person's disease, right? And they're like, no. It's for everyone. And if you go back to when HIV was up, they're like, you can get that from everywhere. You're like, oh, well, actually, you couldn't. Sorry about that. Sorry about the food pyramid. Sorry about HIV. Sorry about the COVID stuff. Sorry.
Tobacco, sugar.
But we know what we're talking about. Right. So that's where you start getting, okay, it might be valid, but now it's too muddy. Now it's all muddy. So,
do So total sidebar. For the last like 2.5 years, I've been on testosterone injections, right? So every like 3 months, I get my blood work to make
Is
sure
that what
like
they're
everything's
calling gay
normal.
sex now?
Yep.
You saw my wife come and give me McDonald's fries.
Doesn't mean shit.
That's true.
That's
true. True
Does
statement.
she
True
feed you
statement.
those fries while you're getting your injections?
She would. She would. I remember I had gotten my blood drawn probably a month after I got like I think the second like COVID vaccine, or maybe it was a booster. Maybe it was a booster, and I noticed that my white blood cell count dropped like a little bit. Right. Fast forward 5 months, I actually caught COVID. Very mild symptoms. My freaking platelets were shot. Like I'm talking like
shit.
80% of them were 80% of them were gone, and I didn't feel right for maybe 5 or 6 months. So I'm like, okay, like there's probably something for me, right? To the vaccinations. Like, yeah, I'm gonna stick to it because I don't. It was pretty bad, and that was mild symptoms.
Yeah,
like mild.
But you didn't have the shit to fight it off, right?
What do you mean?
Well, your white blood cells, they were low.
Yeah, the immune.
After I caught COVID, they were low, and then so the next few months I was sick a ton. Like I was missing work like every like probably 2-3 days a month sometimes. Just like I'm wiped, man. And I was like, man, do I have long COVID? But I kind of snapped out of it, and then testosterone injections help, by the way, just FYI. They're pretty nice.
Nice.
throwing that out there for all you old bastards. Like low T center, get it checked. Like
just make sure you go and get that gravy blood thinned out every 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, I've had to donate blood quite a bit, and I used to be like a little bitch when I donated blood. Like I was one of those that had to sit for like 20 minutes. Like oh my god. Last time I went, it took like 8 minutes.
Yeah, nice.
My blood was so thick. Yeah. They're like, that was it. You're good. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
They're pouring it like honey. They're like, holy shit, look at this fucking sample.
Yeah.
I donate blood pretty regularly, not because of testosterone, just because I don't know, it's on the way home and I do that. But I was super suspect of mine, like after I got both shots, and then maybe a month and a half, 2 months later, I went and got donated blood, and there was a COVID test at the bottom, and it said COVID antibodies. No. I was like, okay, what's going on here?
Really?
So I didn't have any antibodies for COVID 2 months after I got the second shot. So it evidently, for me, it is all the anthrax got in here. Like, get out of here, pussy.
Yes.
The COVID's like, nah, anthrax, get the fuck out. You
guys swimming in
anthrax. I don't know what. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Yeah, COVID kicks the door in. They're like, nope,
nothing.
No,
not it.
Fractions, man.
Okay, so let's do our last story here. Quick one, but a couple months ago, because we talked about this, the Humvee that got stolen from California National Guard back in July. Well, they just found it. They just found it last week.
In July.
And they stole it in July, and they just found it last week.
It's in Honduras.
A fully green camouflage Humvee. So from task and purpose, the stolen National Guard Humvee found after a long chase. So this is a quick one. But they stole it the night before the 4th of July. Someone broke into the Santa Rosa National Guard Armory in Northern California.
Yeah, the security cop was on the couch. He didn't see it happen.
Right. He was busy. He was busy. He was busy with orientation of the new Airman Security Force. Right. The thief managed to get into a Humvee and get it going, crashing through a gate to get out. Beyond a few sightings in the region, the stolen Humvee vanished until last week.
That's good camouflage.
The CHIPS, the California Highway Patrol, along with the Sonoma. This is up in Sonoma. That's nice up there, man.
Drinking wine, baby.
Along with the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office, captured the car after a car chase on Tuesday, November 14th, that started early in the morning, just before 7 a.m. So do you think that guy just got up, or had he been up all night? Right?
No.
We talked about the
Keep you up
journey.
for days.
The guy's over in Okinawa, right?
Mhm.
They got a call to the sheriff's office about a man in a camouflage Humvee. The driver, 34-year-old Anthony Stabile, allegedly fired a handgun at a utility truck before 7 a.m. randomly.
The early morning.
He's on testosterone shots, and he's got a little aggressive.
It's all hopped up on that COVID vaccine.
Take the go with the bad, gentlemen. You know,
That could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody.
He fired some shots at a utility truck and drove off. Deputies responded, and CHP was contacted to help search for the suspect. CHP officers found Stabile driving a Humvee eastbound on Bodega Highway, just outside Sebastopol. California Highway Patrol said in a statement they followed him until it was safe to pull him over, but Stabile refused to pull over, and he started a pursuit. Law enforcement chased after the Humvee. The stolen car ran over spike strips set up by the Petaluma Police Department, puncturing the tires but not stopping the driver because of the run flats. Right, they got some run flats on there. Humvee kept going until the tires fully deflated and handling became near impossible. So Stabile then surrendered to authorities without a struggle. He was charged with several felonies, including a loaded firearm in public, shooting at an unoccupied vehicle, firing a gun from a vehicle, vandalism, unlawful possession of a gun, a loaded unregistered gun,
Flipping off
theft,
police officers.
well, that too. Possession of a stolen vehicle and evading. Evading is a felony? I don't know. Despite the extremely recognizable appearance of the military vehicle and the Humvee's limited fuel efficiency, law enforcement failed to locate the car in 4 months.
Ooh.
In the days following the theft, there were reports of the Humvee throughout Sonoma County and the Sacramento area, often without its lights on. Oh, stealthy. Those reports dropped off after July, where the car has been, or how it was refueled without suspicion since remains a mystery. So it's been hidden for 4 months.
Not a mystery.
This guy gets drunk. What? Maybe not drunk, but this guy takes it out before 7 a.m., shoots up a utility vehicle, and then just goes on a high-speed Humvee chase, which is not that high speed.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
He would have just not shot up the utility bill. Just kept going.
Well, he was in the Army, and he was responding to a letter where they asked him to come back.
Oh, yeah, good call.
He was in a hurry.
They should have just sent him a letter freaking in July.
Way to bring that back around.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I like that.
It's only 22 miles away, though. Like the Santa Rosa Armory from Sonoma County. Like
yeah,
Sonoma
he's not going cross
proper.
country. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good point. Good point. Okay, so in response to, or not in response, but in honor of Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
You guys got any Thanksgiving stories? I didn't even ask that. So I remember having Thanksgiving. I remember being in the Army, and they would bring Thanksgiving out in the Mermites. You know, the old thermal aluminum things that turned your eggs green and all that shit.
Yeah.
But it was nice because it wasn't MRE, so you were eating a hot meal in face paint. But at least you got to, they would stop exercises.
Take a moment.
You get to go do that. So, and we talked about having Thanksgiving on the ops floor, where just the day shift got to celebrate that. The swing shift and mid shift just got left over.
Well, swing shift wasn't bad because they usually do it kind of late. You know,
it was still kind of, or they would do a second one, right?
Yeah.
Mid shift just totally got leftovers.
You're on your own.
Yeah, mid shift all. Because they're like, oh, you already got to celebrate. And it was like, no, I was sleeping.
I was asleep. Yeah.
Right.
They always brought box nasties to us. You know those in-flight box meals that the air crews would take?
Kidding?
Yeah,
there were sandwiches all around.
Sandwich and bag of chips and an apple, for Christ's sakes. A little bit of mustard.
Skittles.
Oh, yeah, the tiny little mustard and mayo packs that you had. Yeah.
Box nasties from in-flight, man.
Yeah.
But, that was better, I suppose, than anything else.
They thought of us.
Yeah.
Fleeting.
Well, one thing on Thanksgiving, that you could always look forward to, at least if you were in an ops center, if you were in space, Eric, is that you knew once the colonel finished dishing out the turkey, you could get to go watch movies.
Yeah.
Right? You could turn off CNN or Fox News for a while. At least you could watch movies during Thanksgiving. So, in honor of that, I am going to steal Adam Carolla's Rotten Tomatoes game. Blatantly.
That was a good transition.
Ooh,
I am
like
straight up stealing Adam Carolla's Rotten from the Adam Carolla podcast. I'm straight up stealing his Rotten Tomatoes game. So
you're going to get the letter cease and desist using my freaking.
If we were that popular and he did, I would wear it as a badge of honor. I'd be like, yes, finally, somebody's recognizing the talent that this 125 years of military service is bringing you. So, the Rotten Tomato game works like this. So I'm going to give you a movie and you got to guess the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Don't look up anything, obviously, right? And you all got to say when you're ready, because I don't want you to listen to what other people say about the movie. So you got to, I'll give you a second. You come up with your own score. We'll go around. We'll compare it to the Rotten Tomatoes score. Your difference will be added up over 5 movies, and the lowest score wins.
Okay, it's what, 1 through 100?
1
to 100.
Rotten
Tomatoes? Okay.
Right.
Marty, you can't keep track of like whether I won one round versus Eric.
No.
Like,
Look.
You're keeping
He was
like
our
80.
scheduler,
I can't.
He was our scheduler?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
But your hairline is still elite.
That is
Jake,
true.
I have a system here. All right. Trust
Oh,
me.
okay,
I have
I'm
a
excited.
system. I do.
It's an Excel
You got a
spreadsheet.
It is an Excel spreadsheet, and I put some macros in the goddamn thing. So
Send that to Israel and Ukraine. They'll probably appreciate it.
Yep.
well, they'll be like, "Oh shit, we can account.
This is
we
much
can account
better
for
than
all
ours.
this shit?"
This is better than ours.
We don't want that.
Don't tell them we shipped a bunch of these weapons off to other countries. Right. All right, everybody understand?
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to give you a movie here. Hold on. Let me back to share screen. And where is it? God damn it. Okay.
Lost his mouse.
I did lose the mouse. I did lose the mouse again.
It's like this.
Marty's peeking over the edge, looking for the mouse.
Motherfucker. What are you guys seeing right now? Are you
You're
seeing
both
this whole
slides?
God damn it. I did it again.
21 slides, Marty. Come on, man.
It is 21 slides. So I'm going to do it this way. All right.
What kind of a Texas fan do you think we have?
Yeah, that's valid.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hold on a second. What did you put in the chat?
Oh, that was the link from the people getting kicked out for
The
the
boot.
COVID booster. It's the military.com.
All right.
It basically just said they were all going to get normal, like general discharges.
Kevin, next time you got to share your French fries, man. You can't be eating French fries and not share them.
You know what? You're right. That is rude. I'm sorry.
It's mean.
Come on, man.
It's just mean.
Not all of us are Adonises like you, okay, Eric? Like
That is true.
Adonises. Ooh.
Look at that goatee. Like, okay, Jake,
No.
like our beards are below average. Yours is better than mine. But look at Marty and look at Mike Johns. Like you have two elite hairlines, and then you have us. Like there's no middle ground. It's like elite and then like no.
Yeah.
Well, like I said before, I don't have a drop of testosterone in my body, but I got hair. You know what I mean? So I don't know what to say.
I'm swimming in tea over here. I'm suffering the consequences.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Ditto. There was a head full a long time ago too. That's a damn shame.
Lush. I bet it was Lush.
It was
like you were in
Lush.
the 80s, so you're probably like just dripping
Oh
down. You know?
man.
Yeah.
Just spelt.
I would like to see pictures. I would like to see pictures of your in-regs haircut back in the 80s.
Oh,
you should have seen the pictures of him bodybuilding.
Oh,
this big son of a bitch. Oh yeah. All slathered up with tanner and fucking. It's impressive.
That's
I'm
funny.
You know,
Those were the old days.
platonically, I'm impressed.
I don't care either way.
All right, you guys got it? You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Well, that didn't work. All right, so the first one's going to be a Marines movie. Heartbreak Ridge.
We're not seeing the movie.
What? You can't
I'm
see
not-
any of this?
I'm not seeing it.
They got a black screen.
It does say Rotten Tomatoes game at the top, though. So you're
Right.
getting some parts correct.
Ooh, yeah, good
Well,
call.
that's okay. I have no. I practiced on this shit. All
Teapot, you didn't get a background issued?
No.
Fucking- yeah. Me neither.
Well.
All right,
in the
I'm not
closet.
gonna.
There we go. There we go.
Hey, we're up.
I'm not gonna go through whatever this slideshow playing thing is. All
Well,
right?
I'm glad you gave the brief description of what the movie was about.
Yeah. Well, in case anybody doesn't. Well, I mean, there may be some people who watch this part, like Teeny, who doesn't understand which movie we're talking about.
He doesn't
Okay.
make it this far.
This is near and dear to my heart because I was there.
Okay, so everybody got to get their guesses, and we're going to say them one at a time. All right,
Cool.
1 through or 0 through 100. So, what do you give Heartbreak Ridge on a critic score, not an audience score this time?
Oh.
Critics
Eric,
score.
what's your score?
For critics, it'll be 68.2.
We're not doing points.
Just let him do what he does and round up or down as necessary.
It's this range. Dang it. You ruined the whole game, Eric.
68.
The turkey's
like
going
the
to be
point,
dry
too.
because of you.
68, man. Critics' choice.
68 for Eric. Jake,
73.
Teapot,
60.
Ooh.
and Mike.
Low.
43.
Ooh.
Just Price is Right rules?
Ooh.
$1.
No, it
$1.
can be it can be up or down. It's just how far away you are from the critic score.
Oh, okay.
And the critic score is
Ooh,
68.
68.
No
Wow.
way.
Are you kidding me? That's awesome.
Incredible.
Mike, you're
Audience
out.
score.
Oh.
Look at that audience score. Right?
Actually pretty close.
Yeah. Okay, next movie. It's an army movie.
That's 73. That's close.
The Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker. Oh.
Remember
Oh,
The Hurt
this-
Locker?
Yeah. A great movie.
2008, right? Jeremy Renner before he was into the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I think it was before.
Right?
And before he was in the Jason Bourne
Yep.
franchise.
Yeah, that's right. And it also had Mackie in there too before he was in the Marvel universe. That's
It
curious.
got a tad bit hokey when they went off the base on their little own, you know.
It was very much hokey.
Yeah.
But
So-
people
My,
loved it. People
my
loved
EOD
it, right?
best friend wasn't a fan.
Who wasn't a fan?
My EOD best friend growing up, he was like, yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
I got the whole. I mean, I thought the principle of the movie was good. Was that the Jeremy Renner's character was just like, I got nothing else. This is what I
Yeah.
know. I kind of got a death wish anyway, so I'm going to keep going back.
Yeah.
I get that, right? But what do you think this movie rated by the critics? You guys
Are we-
got it?
We go in the same order?
No, we'll start with
Okay.
Jake this time.
Okay.
87. Because it was nominated for a freaking.
That's right. Yeah, it got a bunch of shit.
Yep.
Teapot.
94.
Oh.
Holy
Oh, okay.
I don't
Big
know.
Vern.
That sounded competent.
23.
91.
Ooh,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
You think the critics like this movie, huh?
Yeah.
Mr. History.
I'm going to go 89.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, big
I'm the
proponents.
lowest. Jeez.
Yeah. And the critic score is
97.
Ooh.
can you
It was a
believe
good movie. I enjoyed it.
was a good movie. I was surprised that the
Good movie.
critics liked it, but maybe it was kind of the mental thing. Audience score was a little bit low.
Wow. I would have thought this would have been opposite. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, kind of. It's weird. All right, number 3. You ready? This is a Navy movie. Somebody said it a couple weeks ago.
Is there a black guy starring?
Yeah.
Black guy.
Actually, there is
black
guy starring.
Told ya.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is
stealth,
Navy?
baby. Yeah, they're Navy pilots.
That's right. That's right.
They're Navy pilots. Jessica Biel, Jamie Foxx. I don't know who the third guy is. I've never heard of him. But
I'm going to give it a high rating just because of Jessica Biel.
So for those who are just on the podcast or on the audio one, this is Stealth, the 2005 American action film, right? It was so cool. It was so goofball. It was always on in the sock. I remember that. It was because I think TBS picked it up or some shit like that. And Stealth was always available to watch. So, okay, you got it in your head? Teapot, you're first.
Ooh, Stealth. I'm gonna go 57.
Generous. 57.
I'm a Jamie Foxx fan, man.
That was during his heyday, right? And
He's He's
Jessica
hyper-talented,
Biel.
man.
I mean, yeah, she was looking good, right? Mike, what do you got?
64.
Oh, damn it.
And the Ice-T version of Stealth was much, much better.
The what version?
The Ice-T, the rapper, he made a movie called Stealth. And the special effects were literally like model airplanes on fishing wire being flown in front of like the original iPhone. It was
Are you
terrible.
serious?
Yeah, it was horrible. But anyway,
like a YouTube thing or what?
No, it was an actual movie. It was just
really
horrible. Yeah,
I never heard of it. Eric, what do you got?
This is Critics. It's going to be always Critics, right?
Critics.
This is Critics.
Right.
I'm going to go 72.
Bold. Yeah.
Nah.
Jake.
No, I feel like they probably did like it.
Yeah, I was 64, but 66. I'm gonna regret that.
You Price is Right.
The critics' score for Stealth was
Oh shit!
Holy cow!
There goes all of our stats.
Yeah.
13.
That was
Holy
terrible, man.
cow.
yeah, look at that.
Damn, nobody liked it.
39.
Released in 2005, the film was a critical and box office flop,
Wow.
grossing
never actually
79 mil, and it cost 135 mil to make.
You know what's funny?
One of the worst
it
losses
dealt with
in
AI,
history.
right? It dealt with AI. If it was released now, it probably would have done a lot better.
Wow.
It was AI.
You could have been,
flying
yeah,
that
it could have
mono.
been.
Yeah.
But Stealth was rated at critics' score at 13.
13 and audience 39. Oh my
I would have
goodness.
never thought it was that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad either.
I honestly
either.
have never. I think I've maybe seen a couple of scenes of it. That's it.
I thought
It's annoying more than it's bad.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I look for in all my movies.
Annoying.
All right, so I'm trying to do the 5 forces here. Well, it's actually 6, but I got a Coast Guard movie for you.
Oh,
The Guardian?
Rescue Swimmer.
Guardian.
you
It's the
knew it was
only
The
Coast
Guardian.
Guard movie
Yeah,
you can think
yeah,
of, right?
Exactly.
The Guardian,
Like
2006, Kevin Costner, Ashton Kutcher. Right? Wasn't that the old trope? You know, Kevin Costner was the old guy. Here's the new rookie coming in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The classic military story.
Kind of, yeah. Well, at least the trope, anyway. Okay, we're back up to you, Eric. What do you got?
Well, I thought the movie was entertaining. Thought it was a bunch of bullshit,
I liked
a little hokey, but I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, I liked it.
So if I'm a critic, I'm going to give them a 70.
70. Got it. I think that sounds safe.
Yeah.
Jake, sorry.
It was pretty good, honestly.
I liked it. I
I
enjoyed it.
remember enjoying it.
It surprised me that I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, that was better than I thought.
Yeah, that 13 threw me off, man. It still got me.
I felt
Gunshot.
discombobulated.
I know. I thought I knew people. I don't.
Yeah, that's critical.
Oh,
Ooh.
I'm going with 66 again.
66.
Somewhere in the
Teapot.
middle.
52.
Whoa.
52.
You didn't like it, huh?
Ashton
I don't
Kutcher
remember
in short
seeing it.
shorts?
Well, this is
Come
critics.
on, Mike.
This is critics.
The
score.
last Kevin Costner movie, well, I watch it all the time, is For Love of the Game. Like, if I need to go cry, like, I watch For Love of the Game because I'm a baseball guy.
I do like Love of the Game, but it's so,
Yeah.
I mean, just, there's too many cutbacks. There's too many cutbacks.
Billy Chapel, come on now.
Mike, what do you got?
81.
Oh,
Wow.
there we go. There we
81.
go.
Okay.
Can't get enough Ashton Kutcher.
I like Moneyball.
Yeah, that's true. That was
Teapot.
like one of his first movies.
Yeah.
Or one of his
Moneyball,
first
yeah.
dramatic movies, anyway. All right, The Guardian critic score is 37.
Jeez.
No wonder the critics suck.
I know.
So
that's-
what's
that's
the audience?
shitty. 37.
God, it wasn't that bad.
I didn't think so
37.
either.
Well, they
Audience
probably
score.
expected Ashton to live up to his character in Dude, Where's My Car? So
Yeah.
Fantastic movie.
That's probably, there's something to that,
Fantastic
I think.
movie.
he's got a
You can
very
see
high
it,
bar.
And then,
The audience was much higher. Right?
That's yeah.
audience is way
Much
different.
higher, yeah.
80?
Yeah.
My
So and that's more how I felt about it. I thought he did a good job in it, to be honest with you.
yeah.
And I didn't really like Ashton Kutcher. So anyway. All right, last movie. This is our
Hey.
Air Force
Oh,
slash not really Space Force, but it is.
This
Okay.
better be fucking Armageddon.
War Games, baby.
War
War
Games.
Games.
This is a good one, though.
1983.
There's a good one.
Ali Sheedy, Matthew Broderick, Dabney Coleman, right?
And the critics probably think this thing was amazing.
And it's right behind your background. That's where they came in.
Oh, I always remember the 4-leaf clover scene, right? Where he's like,
Clover.
bam. There's one scene where, either way,
That's
he
a
was
great
like, what are the
description.
odds of this? He was like, what are the odds of this? And they're like, I found a 4-leaf clover. And then he had a handful of them. So there was
Yeah.
something suspect.
Oh,
going on.
yeah, I remember that. I think so.
I'm like, how does this prove that this is suspect? I don't get it.
All right, Jake, you want to play a game? What do you got?
The critics,
Did they like it or
Thinking-
did they not?
I
like
think they enjoyed this to the tune of 63.
it? Oh,
I have no,
That's
I have
probably
no
fair.
clue. Dude.
Teapot.
Let's go 1983. Let's go 83.
Oh,
Oh,
He's
okay.
taking the high
probably the
road.
like
best
it. I
logic
like it.
ever.
He's taking the high
I
road.
like it.
Big Vern.
Matthew Broderick and a not weird Ali Sheedy had to be at least a 91.
I mean, it's no
Good
gleaming
call,
the
not
cube,
Weird Ali
but
Sheedy.
That's
Good
true. That
call.
was like pre-cat girl Ali Sheedy. Yeah, that's right.
eh,
Man, I'll tell you.
Okay, Eric.
Only because I thought the movie was retarded. I really did.
What?
trash.
I did. Oh man. So
32.
I'm going to take the high road too because I'm sure they thought it was wonderful. If I didn't like it, so I'm going to go. Let's go 81.
Oh, okay.
Oh my, they really liked it.
All right, critic score for War Games is 94.
I told you
Yeah.
they're a bunch of retards, man. I swear.
Yeah.
God.
94.
I mean, it was anti-war, anti-military.
It kind of was. Yeah.
War-ish.
I mean, and you can see the audience score, I think, is pretty accurate, right? It's
Yeah.
a little lower,
Yeah.
which is kind of where I would put it in the 80s. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it was entertaining. It was good.
Yeah, like I'd watch it if it's on TV. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I can get with this.
I liked it more learning about the true story where they did the what they put
The
tape data
tape.
in, right?
Yeah,
Test data
yep.
in. And they're like, holy shit, and that's what led to those test procedures.
Yep.
Because Eric, what they did was they injected simulated data, but it went out over live. And so the operator saw this this test scenario playing out, and they're like, holy shit. Now, it didn't really lead to turn your key, sir. Turn your key, right? Which is the most action a space guy has ever had on screen.
Yes. Turn your key, pal.
But that made that a lot more entertaining. And Ali Sheedy was pretty cute back then. So, Okay. Coming in fourth place with a score of 129. Big Vern.
Oh, I got slaughtered.
Well, coming in third, who got the bronze, 1 point higher at 128. Jake Wall.
Yes. In your face, Burn.
So does Eric win another quiz show again?
I don't think so. He was middle of the road.
Newcomer.
Teapot was middle of the
Right?
road.
Eric, your score of 113
Ooh.
is good for second place behind Teapot's score
The
of
big silver.
81.
Nice job.
Good job.
So the podcast good conduct medal goes to Teapot. Now, like I said, I'm gonna buy medals for all of you. So when I put it out to the camera, you can reach out and go, oh.
So all you need to do is have it in the top corner.
Thank you very much.
Not guaranteed.
In the top corner, we'll keep score. I'll have a running list of good conduct.
Yeah.
You've got one, Eric.
I have
Jake's
a
got
list.
2, and now Teapot has 1.
This is horse feces. Freaking, he guesses mildly correctly, and he shows up late. Doesn't even have a legit background.
Skips a couple of games.
That's a good point.
With some unknown injury.
Eric's over there cranking out Mr. History. He's got the OnlyFans site. He's got it all going. He even had a special report from security forces.
Yeah,
Eric was
active.
active. He was active today.
He was.
Hard.
We did say at the beginning that the winner of the movie quiz was going to win the
We
good
did.
conduct medal. So,
Is there a mediocre conduct medal?
Mike's got that wrapped up.
I'm just happy it went to a guy that looks like me.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, from here down.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
you
all
guys-
good. Cheer up. You're good.
Let's not talk about body hair now, shall we? On that note, we're at shift change before the holidays. So, everybody, before we go into our hijinks, have a good Thanksgiving. And on behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments, which we did have some comments last time. They were all negative. They were good. So, and make sure next week that you are not
Late for
Changeover.
Make sure that. Oh, I already.
Marty forgot his line.
I did look at my line.
Hey,
Yeah,
little shout out to all the deployed guys and all the poor SOBs eating box nasties.
You know who I wanted to give a shout out to was all the divorced couples with the guy who has to work a shift this weekend. Because that is such a pain in the ass to shuffle your kids around with the ex, and you have to worry about a shift in there too.
Yeah.
So good on you. My hat's off to you at the exchange at the McDonald's at 6 a.m. Good job. We've all been. I've been there, and I empathize with you. So,
Right on.
thanks for the week, gentlemen, and I'll see you next week.
Right on. Later, fellas.
Love
All right,
y'all.
catch you.
Happy Thanksgiving.